Okay, what's going on, everyone? Swinging Bull here. Welcome to my earnings stream. I do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wasn't much on the calendar for this week as far as like big name companies, but today we got Smith and Wesson. Of course, the market's closed tomorrow for Juneteenth. And I think Friday's triple witching, quad witching, or whatever. So just something to be aware about. Smith and Wesson kind of rallied into close a little bit, up 3.7% today during the regular session. They closed at $10.88 a share. That's basically where they're sitting at right now, just waiting for the earnings data to get released. And let's take a look at a few things real quick. So earnings whispers say they report at 4:55 p.m. Eastern, but I think that's a typo. I think they report here soon. They're anchored VWAPs around $8 or $9 a share. They're trading above that just a little bit. And let's see what they did on the previous earnings real quick. So kind of a mixed bag lately with their EPS. When they reported in March, they missed EPS. When they reported in December, they missed EPS. Time before that was flat, and then a couple green that beat EPS on those two. So kind of hit or miss on the EPS. The last four earnings reactions were all negative. The last earnings they had on March 6th, they were down almost 11% the next day. The time before that, they were down 20% the next day. They kind of range between 10 and 20% negative reaction. That's the last four earnings all back to back. Let's take a look at a few things. So the forecast for EPS is 0.23. The forecast for revenue, 152.4 million. And their conference call is at 5 p.m. Eastern. So just something to note there. I'll show everyone how to get to the conference call as well. Just looking at the heat map. Let me just check the sticks one more time. Okay, still waiting on the earnings data. I'll go to the 1 minute chart. And kind of spotty price action today. Their average volume over the past 30 days, 362,000. They had about 1 million volume today. So let's go back here just for a second. Heat map kind of mixed. Just looking at SPY. SPY was just kind of an ugly, choppy day. Definitely not a trending day. They had gapped up in pre-market and had a nice move after the opening bell. And then, of course, when Powell started his press conference, had some selling and just a lot of back and forth, tug of war kind of here at the end of the day. Basically closing flat. If it wasn't for that gap up in pre-market, they'd be red, right? I mean, they are a little red, the S&P is, but more kind of flat, right? Triple Qs, which follows the NASDAQ, tech heavy, of course, also flat on the day. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see until Friday if the market picks a direction. Then the market's closed tomorrow for Juneteenth. And then we'll see what happens Friday pre-market data. We go back here just for a few. So kind of a mixed bag. Market was basically flat today. So just we got some red areas and, of course, some green areas. Tesla was up pretty good today. Banking sector, well, banks in particular, credit services were down, but banks in general, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, they were all green. Healthcare kind of mixed, just kind of mixed today. That's why we're flat. Just looking at the sector information. So believe it or not, consumer discretionary was the top sector today. That's interesting. Probably, attributed to that pre-market gap up. That's probably why they're still on top here. But then followed by real estate, utilities. Tech was green today. Consumer staples was green. Energy was at the bottom. Basic materials, industrials. So kind of a risk-on day, but kind of a sloppy day, if you ask me. And of course, Powell had his press conference at 2:30, and rate, of course, remained unchanged. Nothing scheduled for tomorrow. Friday, got manufacturing survey, U.S. leading economic indicators. Next week, we got PMI on Monday. And then, of course, Thursday, we do have consumer confidence on Tuesday. And Powell is testifying to the House Financial Service Committee. That's Tuesday at 10 a.m., right after the opening bell. So could be some volatility Tuesday morning. I think mainly for next week is going to be initial jobless claims on Thursday. Everyone's investors kind of been watching that pretty closely. So have the Feds. What's going on? Ben Peace in Discord. Good day to you as well. Nikki's here. Sad Boy Slim, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Vinny's here. Zach Attack, love the name. It's like we got two Vinnies in the house. Welcome, y'all. Glad you came out to hang out a little bit. A little after 4 p.m. right now. We go back to the six just real quick. Okay, Smith & Wesson is getting some volatility. Again, the past four earnings have all been negative reactions, ranging from 10 to 20% negative reaction. So they haven't been able to catch a break in over a year, right? Let me go here. So they kind of wicked down to $10.25. And it's going down even more now. Okay, so once again, they're getting a negative reaction. They just can't catch a break. This is going to be their fifth negative reaction in a row, 5 quarters in a row. They were up 3.7% today, but they're down 7.6% right now in after hours. Again, so their data must be out. Let me get my other screen here and get the EPS and revenue and stuff like that. Let's see what we got. Again, my name is the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. Feel free to check the links in the description if you're looking for a new supportive community, trading community. Check us out. If you join, tag me in the chat. I'll come say what's up. Let me scroll down on my screen just a little bit. Now, the expected move was around 10%, a little over 10% for Smith & Wesson. So you got to figure if it closed the regular session at 10.88, 10% of that's kind of the expected move there. It's down about $1 a share right now. We get finished getting the EPS and revenue data. Give me one sec. Okay, let's take a look here. All right, let me see. Okay, this data is from Q4 of last year, so I'm still waiting, but that's okay. I should get it any minute now. Okay, again, they closed the regular session at $10.88 a share. Expected moves like 10%, so like $1.08. They're kind of just sitting right below they're at the expected move now, kind of flickering a little bit. Just give it a minute for it to settle. It's looking like it's going to be a negative reaction. Okay, Smith & Wesson, they missed revenue. Looks like a big miss on revenue. They missed on the bottom line as well. So investors taking that negatively, of course, and that's being reflected through the price action we're seeing right now in after hours. There was some Smith & Wesson bulls on Twitter earlier today, more technical analysis comments, if you will, saying it had broke over the descending trend line that it had. Again, expected to move a little over 10%. It's kind of where it's at right now. So it's already hit its expected move. Let's see if it keeps going down. I'm going to take a look at the financials here in a minute. All right. Let me go back, scroll down just a little bit. All right. Okay, we'll kind of talk about some of this real quick. So going into the earnings, they had a PE ratio of 32. Not sure if that's high or not. We'll have to, check their competitors and see where they fall in the PE range for that sector, I guess, or for that industry, if you will. EPS positive 0.65. They do pay a dividend, 4.78%, according to Webull. Free float 43 million. Let's take a look. Okay, income statement. Yeah, it's barely pulling a profit last 2 quarters. Year over year numbers pretty mixed. It's like every other earnings announcement. It's either red year over year or green year over year, kind of flip-flopping back and forth. They did have a good Q4 in 2024. Pretty good positive net income then. Balance sheet, only 37% debt to assets, pretty good. But they just can't catch a break, though. This is going to be their 5th earnings in a row with negative reactions. So Smith & Wesson reported their results. Q4 net sales of 140.8 million. EPS came in at 0.19 a share, so they missed EPS. They missed revenue as well. We were talking about that earlier. Let me go back here. The forecast revenue was 152 million, and they reported 140 million. So missed revenue, and they missed EPS. That's not good for them, but let's take a look at some other things. So, of course, Smith & Wesson, U.S.-based leader in firearm manufacturing and design. Again, net sales, 140.8 million. Now, that's a decrease of 18.4 million from the same time last year. Okay, so that's down 11%. Their sales. So that's why investors don't like that. They want to see growth with the sales. Gross margin was 28.8% compared with 35% same time last year. Net income 8.6 million. Same time last year was 27.3 million. Ouch. So they're just not making as much money as they were same time last year. I mean, still positive net income, so I suppose that's good. It's not like they're losing money, but there's just no growth there. They got negative growth, if you will. Let's look at some other things here. Net sales for 400. Now this is for the fiscal year. 474 million in net sales. That's a decrease of 61.2 million from the prior year. Not good. Let's look at some other things. Again, fiscal year. So net income 13.4 million. So yes, it's positive net income. But at the same time, last fiscal year, they had 41.4 million. So they're just really down on net income and sales revenue. No growth whatsoever compared to last year. It's actually negative. Let me look at a few other things, make sure we go over everything we can. Okay, so let me see what I'm reading here. Adjustments for income include costs related to the relocation, a gain on sale of certain real estate, and other costs. Okay. So a couple notes from the CEO. His name's Mark Smith. He's the president and CEO. Fourth quarter proved more difficult than we anticipated. Yeah, that's what the data is showing too there, Mark. But fourth quarter proved more difficult than we anticipated, largely due to macroeconomic and industry trends. Okay. While the combination of lower sales and production volumes, along with mixed factors, pressured margins, we were able to partially offset the bottom line impact through disciplined cost management and by leveraging our flexible manufacturing model. Looking at the overall firearms market, we continue to see consumers generally being cautious due to macroeconomic factors. So it's basically just blaming everything on macroeconomic factors, right? Pressuring discretionary spending. Yeah, I could see that. When consumer discretionary sector takes a hit, that's Smith & Wesson is going to go right with it. It's a consumer discretionary stock. While new products and lower price point offerings are still performing well, Overall conditions suggest headwinds will likely persist in the near term. Despite these challenges, we remain well positioned to succeed in this environment. I'll go back to the sticks real quick. I want to see how much cash they had going into this earnings. Okay. As of January 31st, they reported 26 million in cash and equivalents. They're not burning any cash, so that's good. If they were losing money, like if they had negative net income, I'd be a little concerned about how much cash, more concerned about how much cash they got. But they're still making positive net income, and they're sitting on 26 million cash and equivalents. So, that was what they announced, what they had as of January 31st. Getting a negative reaction though. They're down $1.41 a share. The expected move was like 10 or 11%. They're sitting down 12.5%. These are 5-minute candles. So, after this big selling candle, starting to print some little green dojis. So maybe could signal that the selling has slowed down. Gonna have to just keep our eyes on it. Let me just see how much it's retraced. Current candles printing red now. We'll see if that continues or if this is going to be considered possibly a dip buyer to investors. We'll see, because they do pay a dividend. So let me see how often they pay that dividend. Let's see. Okay, they paid their last one in March, and the time before that in December. So they pay quarterly dividend, and it's according to Webull 4.7%. So that's attractive, but man, they've been stuck in this downtrend since last March of last year. So what's that going to be? 12, 15 months they've been stuck in this downtrend. Recently kind of broke out of the downtrend a little bit. So that was promising going into the earnings. But now it's down, trading at $9.47 a share here in after hours. So they've kind of popped back into the downtrend, if you will, for you technical analysis traders out there. But yeah, they pay a quarterly dividend. They've just been stuck in this downtrend for like the past 15 months. So that kind of negates the dividend, doesn't it? If you're going to lose value on your shares for the past 15 months, who cares about the damn dividend? I'd rather have be in a company that pays a dividend that's at least trading sideways. At least we're still making money there. But dividend doesn't really carry a lot of weight if they've been downtrending for the past 15 months. So just a couple of things I'd noticed about what's going on with Smith & Wesson and over the past year or so. They do got a huge gap to fill. This is the daily chart here. This gap got formed in December, their last or two earnings ago. Well, if you count this earnings, not including this earnings, but 2 earnings ago in December, they gapped down. They were trading almost at $14, $13-14. Then they gapped all the way down to like $10. So something to note. There is a gap there. It's unresolved price action. I know market makers like to go resolve that. We don't know when, but gaps tend to fill eventually. So, but this negative reaction they're getting on this earnings isn't really helping things for the gap fill thesis, is it? All right. So down about almost $1.50 a share, down 13.5%. Again, we were looking at this earlier. Their last 4 earning reactions, you can see it right here. I get this data for free from TipRanks, if anyone was curious. But 4 back-to-back negative reactions, and with today, this is the 5th earnings negative reaction. They just can't catch a break. Let's go back to TradingView just for a sec. Okay, still making lows and after hours here, so bottom's not quite in. Let me go back intraday on this chart. Yeah, so it's not even. You could put a Fibonacci on here and see where like the dead cat bounce area would be, but it's kind of still, we had the initial selling and it's still kind of, just made a lower low and potentially a lower high. We'll see how this candle prints. These are obviously just 1 minute candles, but a little bit of divergence on the RSI. You see here where it made this low, this recent low in after hours at 9.32. After it had made this low around 940, you can see the RSI kind of there's some bullish divergence there. So I don't know, maybe it's working on the bottom now. It's pretty good to spot these divergences. I can help with your trading, not financial advice, but just some technical analysis tips there. Divergence is nice to look for and identify. Make sure I'm not missing anything in Discord. Farouk, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. I miss you too. I miss you, man. You got some good energy, and it's always nice chatting with you, brother. I hope you're doing all right. If you need anything, just holler at me, shoot me a DM. Smith & Wesson trying to bottom out here. There's some bullish divergence. Again, 1 minute chart, so, put too much weight on it, but it's something. And a 1 minute chart is kind of the only data we have to go off of right now, since they just reported earnings 15 minutes ago. All right. Yeah, I guess I'll put a 5-notch on here just to kind of see, but it might get invalidated if it makes another after hours low, but this is kind of what I'm looking at here. 25% bounce would take it to $9.70, trading at $9.54 right now in after hours. So, my opinion, before I have any confidence that this in fact has bottomed and it's going to make a run at retracing or reclaiming some of the selling, got to get back above 970 first. That'd be my resistance level 1, R1, $9.70. Anyone's trying to trade this in after hours, just be careful. Of course, so that'd be R1. R2 is $10 a share. Pretty easy levels. Of course, the golden ratio is at $10.30, so that could be your R3 if you want 3 resistance levels to keep your eye on. This is for the Smith & Wesson investors or traders. Support number 1, it's obviously going to be the after hours low, which is $9.32. You could probably just call it 9.30. It's fine. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Let's see if it does in fact bottom. Got some orders on the bid around $9.11. I bet that, if I cross-check this with Fidelity's order book or Schwab, it's probably a little tighter than that. But, I've just noticed, don't depend on Weeble's order book, because I don't want to say I've seen discrepancies. I just haven't seen it doesn't show all the data, okay? Because I've cross-checked it with Fidelity's order book, and Fidelity just has way more data on the order book than what Webull shows. So just something to keep note if you're only using Webull's order book. Maybe cross-check that with some of the bigger brokers and make sure you're going off of accurate information. Okay, sometimes you'll see a wide spread on Webull. You'll see a wide bid versus ask spread. And then I'll go check Fidelity and it's really tight, right? So that's why I know that Webull doesn't give you all the data. So just something to keep in mind. Let's see. Oh, hey, what's up, Charlie and McNulty? Good to see y'all. A little after, it's 4:23 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday. Again, the markets are closed tomorrow. We'll be back in action Friday pre-market. I believe Friday's triple witching or quad witching or something like that. So could be a little volatile. We'll see. And what is there any economic data for this Friday? Okay, yeah, we went over this earlier. This got the Fed manufacturing survey and leading economic indicators. I don't think they'll move the markets much. Okay, let me go back here. So we got our reaction on Smith & Wesson. It's obviously a negative one. They missed EPS. They missed revenue. There no growth whatsoever year over year. It's actually very down a lot. Their sales are down compared to the same time last year, and investors aren't liking that at all. Sitting down here at $9.50 a share in after hours, down $1.38 a share. It's about 12.6% red here. Got my Fibonacci levels drawn out. Starting to trade, obviously initial reaction negative. It's trading sideways a little bit now. Maybe it's trying to bottom out. Again, I did notice some bullish divergence on the RSI, so that is a positive thing. MACD crossover with the bull signal here. So we got some things maybe indicating that the bottom's trying to form here. So just keep your eyes on it. Again, resistance level 1, $9.70. If it don't break that, I'm not even considering that this is going to retrace and go back up. R1, 970. R2, $10 a share. And R3 is going to be the golden fib at $10.30 a share. S1, very simple, after hours low, $9.30. $9.32, but you can call it 9.30, be easier to remember. It's okay if it's off by 0.01 here and there. It's never exact. All right, it's almost 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Charlie, absolutely good to hear from you and see you as well. But yeah, this was the only one we were covering today. Like I said, the earnings calendar was pretty light this week. Wasn't really any big name stocks to cover. But figured I'd still do my streams like I always do and come on here and chit chat and hang out with everyone. We went over some overall market data when the stream started, and yeah, just kind of had fun hanging out and everything like that. But yeah, that's probably all I got for today. Hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Again, the markets are closed tomorrow, so I will not be doing a stream tomorrow, but we'll be right back at it Friday morning. Again, if you're looking for a new supportive trading community, check the links in the description. You can join the Discord for free. My name's the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. I hope everyone has a great night, and I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers, and talk to you later. Bye now.